just helped me set up my dream home entertainment theater. Even though I have an open concept, kind of weirdly shaped living room with tons of sunlight, which is usually not great for surround sound or television brightness. It's kind of like the worst case scenario. So I shared those concerns with Sony, and I was just like, dudes, I don't know if I could ever get the home theater of my dreams. I don't know if it could ever happen, but they knew exactly what I needed to really upgrade my very poorly set up room to be much better for movies, gaming, and TV. So in order to make this happen, Sony provided me with a new Sony Bravia 8 Mark II. It's a QD-OLED 65-inch TV and a Theater System 6 surround sound system. There's actually some really great deals on this tech happening right now on the Sony website, so I'm dropping some links down below where you can find them. You can literally save hundreds of dollars, good old doll hairs on these, so it's definitely worth checking out if you are in the market for an upgrade. So first up, we have the TV. Sony basically took everything that we loved about the Sony Bravia 8 and they made it better. That includes things like the contrast and the brightness, yay, colors, and even the processor is faster. So brightness and contrast, this thing is 50% brighter than the Bravia 8 and even 25% brighter than the A95L. The A95L is another TV from Sony. Dark scenes now look more dark while highlights are going to pop more. For example, we just binged all of The Last of Us on that TV, and no spoilers, but there are some very dark moments in the second season underground with Ellie, and a lot of little details that pop really, really well in like little teeny tiny details, little fragments and things floating around in the air. And those are so super detailed and like refined, so you can really see what's going on. This is especially noticeable in the afternoon to evening hours when the sun is setting directly where my TV is mounted, which is very annoying. And yes, I know I need good curtains. I haven't invested in them, but you know, I just deal with it. I can still see what's going on this TV, and that's a big change from my previous television, which I had purchased 4 years ago from a competitor. So I was pretty blown away by how well I can see when the sun is setting. Then we have colors. So we've got that QD-OLED processing and the XR Triluminos Max, which is Sony technology. You're getting billions of shades with a higher color volume than before. So for example, if you are watching K-pop Demon Hunters, which I feel like the entire world is, they have this really beautiful rainbow hair. Ask me where I got my hair inspiration. Yeah, but you've got that cool anime hair color look, and it's way more accurate to the characters when you're watching on a good TV. And a show like Outlander looks gorgeous whenever Claire and Jamie are out in the woods. You know, they go out in the woods a lot. Hey, the greenery pops. It looks stunning. We also have XR processor magic. Sony's XR processor is still like the king. It does this cross analysis thing where it looks at hundreds of thousands of objects on the screen all at once. That means sharper details, depth mapping, and faces that look natural, even animated ones. And this is gonna sound weird, but the TV sounds good too, all on its own, even if you don't purchase a sound system. So the Bravia 8 Mark II screen is actually the speaker thanks to Acoustic Surface Audio Plus with dual subwoofers. So dialogue, effects, and music sound like they are coming from the exact part of the screen that you're looking at. This is really interesting to experience in person because you will notice that audio from two different people are coming from separate parts of the television. It's very interesting. So I usually watch my entertainment via streaming applications. Like I watch a lot of Prime and Netflix, and I watch a lot of Crunchyroll. There is some new calibration modes going into the Sony TV, including ones for Netflix, Prime Video, and Sony's own Pictures Core app with IMAX enhanced movies. So this makes little teeny tiny adjustments for each of the apps so you get the best image quality on the screen. I also noticed it has Dolby Vision, it has HDR streaming up to 80 megs per second. This is especially nice whenever you're watching IMAX enhanced movies, but if you have data caps, you can control this, you can turn it on or off, and Crunchyroll as well. Now jumping over into gaming, I just got a new Switch, so I plugged that in to try some of the modes. There's a ton of different options through the gaming menu, which pops up from the bottom, and you can just go go through all the different options. Not just like changing the vibrancy and the brightness of the game, which also is very cool, but you can also add like a crosshair to your TV. You can customize that so it looks different depending on what you need. And there's this one really cool hack. It's a YouTube player. So it pops up this YouTube player right next to your gameplay on the TV, and you can switch your remote control between the two images. So if you're stuck in a game, you can find a walkthrough, and while that's playing on the TV, the walkthrough from YouTube, you can control your game and follow along while the video is playing right next to it. This is so cool. Now I know some folks out there are very anti-walkthrough, but I will advocate all day long for the freedom to enjoy your games however you feel without stress or anxiety. So my s'mores out there, do not feel like you can't watch a walkthrough. Like, watch your walkthrough, finish that game, move on to the next one, okay? Get 100%. Why not? Now, one cool thing you can do with Sony TVs is stream PlayStation games through your Bravia and the PS Remote Play app. This lets you control the PS5, the 5 Pro, or the 4 remotely. The TV is also rocking Google TV for the operating system. It runs on Android. If you've ever used a Chromecast, this is exactly the same. It's also rocking a one-slate design with a slimmer chassis, so it looks very sleek on the wall. And whenever you're playing something on the TV, you will notice that the bezel around the edges, it's tiny, like teeny tiny. It is loads thinner than my previous TV, like quite a bit, and it looks so much cleaner. So since I set this up on my own with my husband, we set it up together on our wall, I can say that the setup of this TV is pretty easy. My old one had to be removed, then we unboxed the new Bravia 8 Mark II, we installed the mounting brackets on the back, and these are like the universal mounting brackets, so no problems there, and then we just placed it on the wall. It was heavy, and I am very proud of us for installing this thing, because according to Sony's website, it's 50 pounds without the stand. So go us. Yay. I feel very strong and buff. In our case, we do not have the TV set flush, but since I have that big living room, this mount allows us to tilt and turn the TV as needed. And since I often review gadgets and I need to plug them in and have access to those ports, I can also access all those ports on the back really easily. We do have a wiring cutout on our wall, but apparently this dang thing can only fit one cable through it behind the drywall. Trust me, we tried. We stuck so many cables down that stupid hole in the wall trying to get like several of them to fit because I have multiple things that plug into HDMI and we could not fit everything. I know I have a cord dangling from the TV. I will have to find an alternative way to hide additional accessory and console cables down the line. But right now, honestly, I don't have the time to fix it. So you're just gonna have to deal with it. So sorry. If you comment below about my cabling, I will hide your comment. Speaking of which, this TV also includes Wi-Fi 6E, it has Bluetooth 5.3, it has Ethernet, several HDMI ports, including an audio return channel or an ARC, and a couple of USB ports. And that is HDMI 2.1, so yes, it is compatible with newer gaming consoles. So happy about that. Lastly is the remote. It's actually made of recycled plastics, and it's really easy to clean. Also, if you have connected devices like a Bravia sound system, you can control those from the same remote. Now, if you're finding this video helpful, maybe subscribe down below if you want to. You don't have to, but I would appreciate it if you did. Subscribing is a very simple way of supporting the content that you enjoy here on YouTube, and it also tells me which direction I should be taking my channel in. Big Patreon shout out to Vernon, Gareth, and Brian. You can join them and support my channel by going over to patreon.com/Shannon Morris. Everybody please welcome my 3 newest s'mores. So you can check out my Patreon for perks like early video access and my private Discord, but as usual, the videos on my channel are free to watch. I do thank my YouTube members and my patrons for making that possible. Now, if you use a Sony TV and a Bravia system for sound, it's basically a plug and play experience. So with that said, let's discuss the audio. Of course, what's a fancy new TV without equally fancy sound? And the Bravia Theater System 6 is the sound system that I have needed in my life. Like, I feel bad for my neighbors because this thing straight up makes me feel like I have sound in my rib cage. I've never had that before in my own home because the fanciest thing I've ever had was a Sonos soundbar, a really old one, and no subwoofer. So this thing is a extreme upgrade. I have never experienced sound in my own home coming from behind me. And I know that's a simple thing to say, but this sound sounds realistic. I will tell you more in a second on why I said that. So this features 5.1 surround sound with Dolby Atmos and DTS-X support. Sony has this virtual surround tech that creates this very immersive soundscape in your living room, like whenever you're sitting on your sofa in front of the TV, including making it sound like audio is coming from above you as well. Like if there's a helicopter that goes over or something like that, it sounds like it. One example I can give you is I was watching Wednesday, the newest season of Wednesday, which I love that show so much. There's a moment where this creature runs by in the forest, and honestly, it sounds pretty creepy because it sounds like it ran right by me. Then you have Voice Zoom 3, which means that I can actually hear dialogue without blasting the volume all the way up. That's a really, really nice little feature. The AI separates voices from music and effects, which I found to be very useful when I was watching Mr. Robot, because Elliot is very monotonous and it's hard sometimes to hear what he's saying, especially if you're not paying like full attention. So this is the kind of AI tool that I can really get behind. I really like how Sony is using it to make my entertainment more enjoyable to watch. And then we have the setup, of course, which was stupid easy. With the Bravia Connect app, I was tuned, I was optimized in under 10 minutes. It was pretty fast. I did have one hiccup where the Connect app on my phone couldn't get the back amplifier to connect to the subwoofer, which was sitting next to my TV. So I just unplugged the power on the amp and I restarted the app, and that reset the connection just fine. So that was during the setup, and I was able to connect them almost immediately after I reset the app. Since setup, it's never disconnected or anything, so I don't think I'm ever gonna have to do it again anytime soon. Of course, if I switch up things in my home network, just like any other connected devices, you might have to reconnect your surround sound as well. Now, I tested the surround sound with several movies and TV shows. Like, I've been testing this almost every night. It's very fun. So first, I have Dune 2, which is one of my favorite movies. I love Dune. Dune is way up there, but Dune 2 is up there too. I'm gonna go very nerdy real quick, so if you don't understand these references from Dune, that's okay, just listen along. So at the beginning of the movie, you hear some Sardaukar throat singing, where they're like super low and bassy, and they have that creepy chant, and it totally hits your chest when you're listening to it with the surround sound. And then there's this very, very amazing scene with an iconic Shai-Hulud sandworm, and before it breaches the dunes, you hear this creepy vibration from the desert, like under the desert dune, under the sand dune, coming from the distance towards you. And it gave me chills because it sounds so intense and so kind of creepy and scary. I was like, oh my God. Like if you're actually out there on Arrakis, right? And you're in the middle of the desert and you hear this vibration, like that's what I imagine it would actually sound like in real life. It's creepy. Like if you're listening to it, sounds like you're in the theater listening to this in an IMAX theater. It was so freaking cool. I want to watch that movie every night on the surround sound system because it's so nice. Okay, and then I watched K-Pop Demon Hunters, you know, taking it completely 360 over here, and it sounds like you're at a concert. You can hear the audience and you can hear fans screaming from behind you while the songs and the lyrics are so crisp and full of energy, and like the bass hits really well and everything sounds in sync. It was cool. Now, one thing that I do love is the acoustic center sync, which uses the Bravia as a center speaker, and it integrates with the speaker system. So sound precisely matches what's going on the screen, which I can say as a fact. I have a family member who has a surround sound system and a television, and they're hooked up together, but the sound is always off. So like you see mouse moving and then just like a millisecond later you hear the sound coming out of the soundbar, and it drives me absolutely nuts. So I love that this is in sync. I think sometime in the future I may work up the courage to drill some holes and mount the rear speakers to the wall, but for now they're living on top of my kitchen counters. What I do enjoy about this setup though is whenever there are little noises happening on the show that I'm watching that come from behind, I have found myself turning around, like straight up. I'm watching TV, right? And I have to turn around and make sure nobody's in my kitchen because I think that my cat is on the counter eating something, which he's not supposed to do, or my dog is counter surfing, which she does whenever we leave the house. So I'm like, is she just doing that now that I'm home? But lo and behold, it's just very realistic noises coming from the speakers behind me. Yeah, my cat and dog are chilling in their bed sleeping. It was not the cat and dog. It was the surround sound system. And that has happened multiple times. And both me and my husband have both had those reactions where we're just like, who's in the kitchen? Because we think somebody's back behind us. It's so weird. It kind of gives you chills. This has happened multiple times, so I can say from experience that the audio is indeed very realistic. It's very clear. It does sound like somebody is behind me in the kitchen. And that's a bit terrifying because I also really love watching scary movies. So this is a home theater system that I've really dreamed of. Best in class picture, best in class surround sound, both of which blew me away given that my living room is certainly not the kind of room that any home theater geek would look at and think, oh, you have a really premium setup here. It's a perfect rectangle. You can get premium quality out of it. It's not. It's none of those things. I have the worst living room when it comes to getting good sound quality and like not having to deal with the sun reflecting off of the television. But the Sony home theater system, both the TV and the sound system, really fixed that problem. It's not cheap, but you're also getting high quality out of this setup. So let me know what you think. Comment down below if you have any questions about this, or if you would like to see me review other home theater type of systems and televisions. I'm certainly able to do that too. I hope you enjoyed this very consumer representative review of a home theater setup. It was really fun for me, and it's something that I'm just now getting into, so I very much enjoyed writing this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.